Hi, welcome to episode 13 of Just One More Project Bag. I am Dana, otherwise known as Dana of Unwind.
And I'm Tiffany, the Project Bag, and thanks for joining us today on
Yes.
this beautiful Saturday. Well, it's Saturday where we are. I don't know
Yes.
what it is when you're
It'll
watching.
probably be Sunday or later when you see this. You can check out my cups at unwindoriginals.com. You can check out nail polish strips at Tiffany's affiliate link that is in the show notes. I won't say it here because you'll have to go click it anyway. It's easier. And check out Tiffany's project bags at theprojectbag.etsy.com. So it has been a minute. We're having schedule syncing issues, but you know,
True.
it happens. So happy New Year to everybody. Even though it's like the third week of January by now, but you know, we haven't talked to you since
I feel
then.
like the whole month qualifies. You can still say the
Yeah.
whole month.
Yeah, and I mean, I still have Christmas trees up. They're partially undecorated, but you know, it happened. I'm still halfway celebrating the holidays here. But yeah, I mean, you know. So I guess since the last time we talked, we've had Christmas and we've had New Year's and all kinds of nonsense in both of our lives. So we're happy to be back with you guys and talking about our crafting. So what are you working on, since I have no idea what you're working on? It's
I
fun.
know I failed in my part of the show notes.
Okay.
Part of our scheduling was that we typed up show notes last week, and then we're just not getting to record this week. So I don't normally do this, but I kind of went on a castle and frenzy since I typed up those notes, and so I've got to play catch up on what I'm doing. So first and foremost, this is a goal for my crafty bingo this year. One of my squares that I set up was to knit the 21 and having fun shawl.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have cast it on.
Ooh, that's great contrast.
Thanks. I'm not usually, the best at that, but
No, that's great.
I bought these colors, or these two yarns, when we were on vacation back in September. And this one is hedgehog fibers, and the colorway is eel. And this one is Emma's yarn, and the colorway is Ice Ice Baby.
I love it.
I knew when I bought them that I wanted to put them together in a project. So you actually, I think, shared with me a pattern that was written specifically for Emma's yarn for Emma's birthday, and it was free for a time. So I went and downloaded it, and it was the 21 and Having Fun shawl. So it is
Awesome.
a fun shawl to make. I think I've got 2 or 3 more sections, and then it'll be finished. So chugging along here.
I love
nice.
how it looks like scribbles.
You're right, it does. Well,
fun.
And I made a few mistakes at the beginning. I was twisting my stitches on the one side in the wrong direction, but it doesn't really, I don't think you can tell unless you really look at it. And I
wouldn't have known if you hadn't told me, and I can't even tell now.
So yeah, it is. It's definitely a fun shawl. So 21 and Having Fun, aptly named.
Cool.
And that is by
Monster Knits.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's a pattern by Monster Knits.
She's a new find for me. I started following Emma's yarn after we saw that yarn in that shop, and then I was kind of like, I don't follow her, so I started following her, and she highlighted that pattern, and I was like, ooh. And she's come up with some really good stuff. She's a very prolific designer.
You're right. I think I went and favorited her after you sent me that. Yeah, that shawl.
I started following her on Instagram. She gives away patterns a lot, or gives generous discounts often. What mug are you drinking from?
Oh, this is Julia E. Dean on Etsy. I don't even know if she's this was my Mother's Day, but look, I got a boo-boo.
Oh, that's beautiful.
But I do, and it's huge. I think
that's okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a 20 ounce.
That's
I don't know.
So pretty.
Big.
I thought it was like a mason jar wrapped in brown paper at first. What did you do?
Her designs are really cool, and then inside she's got like a swirl at the base of it.
Super neat.
I think Bookish Stitcher way long time ago shared about her because I think she's a
Cool.
Texas maker.
Hmm.
But yeah, ever
love a
since
good
my
mug.
boo-boo, I really would like to have another one. But yeah, I said, "Oh,
Sorry,
I
there's
feel like
like there
it's
are
the big
birds
mug day."
fighting. There are birds fighting like at the feeder. Like we've been seeing them be super mean to each other, and they're going through 2 pounds of food every 3 days between our
Oh
two
my,
feeders. It
see,
is so much
I'm
food.
not having that many birds. Maybe you're the only feeder in town.
I don't see a whole lot of our neighbors with them. So maybe we are, and we're at
Yeah,
the back and the woods is right there. So maybe that's part of it. But like, I don't know if I
true.
told you,
Yeah,
but we
that
have
might
a
have something to do with it.
pair of downy woodpeckers.
Yeah, well, you
2 of
did
them.
tell me. I didn't realize it was 2 of them though. You did tell me
Yeah.
about the one.
Well, I hadn't seen the female until a couple of days ago, and she's vicious. She'll go up behind a bird and pull its feathers out to try to get it to
Oh,
leave. It's like, okay, lady, she pulling hair over here. Oh my gosh. Well, anyway, so what else are you working on?
Okay, I've got 2 more things here.
Okay.
Kay, our friend Kay, Bead Sisters, was doing Vlogmas,
Yeah.
words. And so there was a discussion on her Ravelry page about patterns that use minis, Advent set minis. And Sue, our friend Sue, Bust Knitter, she shared the Specklework cowl, which I'm pretty sure I talked about the last time.
You did.
I did. Okay. Well, anyway, I've started it with Unwind Yarn Company minis. It was a Halloween set, although I tweaked the set just a little bit because there was something that was supposed to be in there that's not in there anymore. I don't remember doing that, but anyway, I'm really enjoying this pattern.
You probably used it for heels on a sock or something.
I could have, or maybe did a swap and I was short like a purple or something, because I feel like it's a purple that I'm missing.
Yeah.
I think it's the ants. I'm supposed to have the ants in there and I don't have the ants. And I don't know
You
what
used
happened to them.
that.
It might
There was
be in
that-
here.
No, it was that cowl
No?
that you did before we went to Smoky Mountain Fiber Arts Festival, and it was the one that was lime green with the swirl of
thought
the
that
ants
was
in it.
Midnight Margaritas. It's a Lux. That's the Lux base. I do remember that much.
I thought you
And
pulled
that's
a
the,
mini for the accent though.
I probably did. But it was that was the curvature of the earth cowl, and I wear
Yeah.
that one a lot. But
Yeah, I remember that.
anyway,
one a
I found a suitable substitution.
Okay.
But I'm not a crocheter, at all. But
I
this
think you are
pattern was,
now.
I know it's really easy to follow. I'm using a D hook.
That's a pretty hook.
And I got it on Etsy, and it's a squirrel hook. But I like how deep the grabby,
It's got a tiny little neck on it though. I would break that.
Yeah.
It's got a tiny little neck.
Mine
have to be fat down there or I snap them.
Well, and it's got this nice finger rest, but I'm pretty sure I hold my
You go down
fingers
there.
up here. So
Yeah.
it's very.
It's like a pencil. It's like any of these pencils that have like a finger grip. I always go further down than the finger grip.
Yeah.
Can't do that. I don't know why. I'm weird. I'm like, don't
sure
make this
it would
easy
be.
for me. I will make it difficult for myself.
But I cast on, I think, half the number of stitches called for in the pattern. It's a $2 pattern. You can get it free on Connie's website. Connie Lee Litch is the designer. Or you can get it on Ravelry for $2. And if you feel like $2 is worth her time and effort for her designs.
Totally.
And she has a YouTube tutorial to show you how to do that stitch. Although it's I'm sure if you know basic crochet skills, you can figure it out. But yeah, I appreciated it.
She's a fantastic crochet teacher.
Anything.
She was our crochet teacher at End of the Wool a couple of times. So we have a lot of appreciation for her, for sure.
And also that satisfies another square on the bingo, because the square is to make a crochet project. So
hey, you're using that bag I gave you.
Yes, I am. It fits perfectly.
It's actually perfect for this kind of thing, for something small that you can squish into it, and it's got the top out to the front.
Yeah,
love it. Yeah.
So I should be able to keep it in there the whole cowl.
Yeah. That's just that cow's bag. It lives there now.
Right.
So what else are you
Never
working on?
hurt.
Anything else?
Okay, I've got one more thing.
Okay.
Okay, so another thing for my crafty bingo is to make, I've got 2 different squares that say make 12 mini socks, because my dream is to have an advent garland of knit socks.
Awesome.
So this kind of falls into finished because I cast on and finished 2 little socks.
They're so cute.
And I really love, it's darker than it's showing on the screen, but I really love this one. I got it at the Into the Wool mini skein swap a few years ago. And I mean, it's cardinals, I guess. It's so pretty. I wish I knew what it was, but it didn't have a tag.
So if anybody out there does know what it is, let her
Yeah,
know.
I would definitely love to have a full skein of this if anyone
That's so
can
cute.
identify it.
It
and then I
reminds me
cast
kind
on-
of a sock monkey too.
You're right. Yeah. So that could be it also, because it's definitely,
Oh,
the
that's
grays
super
and the
fun.
white.
Is it hand dyed?
Yeah,
hard to
I
tell?
would think so. I would think it's soft. It's a softer base. It's not. I
You
wouldn't
need to
call it
post that on
opal or red shell.
Instagram. Post that on
I-
Instagram and crowdsource.
I almost wonder if Tracy Phoenix Fire was the one that contributed it.
Could be.
I'm not sure.
She has a
Um,
fantastic sock yarn collection. She was my swap partner one time with a mini skein swap, and it was like amazing.
Right.
I was like loving that. That was great.
Yeah, she's definitely a good one.
She really is.
So I've got the third one cast on, and that's
Oh,
showing way
cool.
more blue. This is definitely a
What
purple.
pattern are you using? Are you using?
I'm
one?
not. I've got it on my Ravelry project page, my notes. It's just 36 stitches on size 2. I think I did a 5 rounds of 1x1, 30 rounds for the leg, the short toe garter heel or short row garter heel,
And then
with
wedge toe.
7 wraps, and then this one I did 25 rounds for the foot, and I felt like that was almost a little bit too long. So this one I did 20, but I did less rapid decreases, so it's almost the same size. But this is a little bit heavier, so I don't know if there's not a great difference in their size.
I have one of my crafty bingo. I about said bingo. What is a bingo? Crafty bingo. Crafty bingo. My
tiger?
crafty tiger goals. Yes, exactly. I want a garland for every holiday eventually. So one of my goals is I have 2 different squares for make a holiday item.
Okay.
And so I will make garlands. I'll make a garland for one of them. And then I think I want to knit some more of those little tiny Easter eggs that I had started with some of my scraps last year. I want to do just like a bowl full of them because they're just cute.
That would be
easy.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are my goal. And I've been like looking at heart patterns because I was thinking, well, maybe I'll make a heart garland for Valentine's Day, but I don't think I can get it done in time, not with the other stuff I'm working on. But I'm going to come up with another style garland that I can have because I loved my tiny pumpkin garland for the fall. And I would really like to eventually be the type of person who has a lightly decorated mantle for every holiday.
Yeah, just a little something.
Yeah, I think it would be really fun. I mean, I'm not going to go crazy and like buy a whole bunch of stuff to sit around because I'm looking at my mantle. That's why I'm gesturing to the air. I love mercury glass and I collect it. So I have several mercury glass pieces up there. And eventually I've got command adhesive hooks just across my mantle. And I would just like to just change the garland out periodically just to be something fun to look at. I think it'd be really nice. Yeah. And I had one over Christmas that I actually bought that was felted and it was really cute. It was Christmas trees and little white balls and they were like spaced out and it just looked adorable. It was so cute. So that's on the list is 2 holiday projects. So at some point I'll do that.
And that was smart because you can work anything into that at all.
Yeah. I went very loose with the goals. Because I don't know, that I found with just the way my brain works, I don't do well with very specific, like make this pattern, because sometimes I'll start out wanting to make that pattern and then somebody will publish one that I decide I like better. So I don't really want to pigeonhole myself in that way, I guess. So, well, I have two things basically on the needles, which is like super unusual for me, but they are
But
both
you're
very
determined.
well. One of them, and specifically, is this one is hardcore deadline, so I've got to get this done like immediately, so I can get it sent out. So I have a friend that's kind of going through some stuff, so I decided that I was going to make kind of a big present for her. So I had Chris pull all of my hand spun downstairs, which was fun because it was like multiple bags, reusable bags full of yarn. And I sat there and auditioned skeins for about an hour and decided on my 5 skeins. And then I decided on my order. And I am knitting a night shift shawl. And I'm probably going to have to lean from side to side for you to see it. So down here is where it started. And then we're going to go all the way down here. But it is all hand spun and it's all different fiber compositions. And I will be honest, when I eventually do start spinning again, which hopefully will happen at some point, I need to get better about labeling my yarn because I have no idea specific fiber content. On a couple of them I remember because they were within the last couple of years. Some of these are a lot older than that. I have no idea on fiber content. I have no idea on grist, and I have no idea on yardage. So, but with the pattern, it's a paid for pattern by Andrea Mowry, in case you don't know about the night shift craze that swept the knitting world a couple of years ago. But you need like a lot more of color A, like over 200 yards of color A. And then on all the other colors, you need a max of 150 yards. So I don't think I've ever spun anything that was under 150 yards since I've been spinning, especially with the grist of these. So these run the gamut from heavy fingering, light sport, all the way up to bulky. So it's got a crazy amount of texture. And this tan that's in this, that's the baby Cormo that you and I got at Smoky Mountain Fiber Arts Festival.
Yeah.
So I've got that. And then this one was Into the World at one point, I think. And then I've got, I forgot my bags down here. Sorry, gonna get to see me real close for a minute.
Are they all 2-plies or
yeah, all of them are 2-plies. Yeah, I did stick to that because I figured at least that way it'll at least have a consistent look, even if the grist is different. This one is Nest Fiber Studio. This one, not a clue. I think it may actually be mine. And this one, I know for a fact is mine. And this one has silk content because I can tell.
Yeah, I was going to say it's very shiny. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was actually really surprised. And I think if I had read the pattern through, I probably would have rearranged my colors just a smidge because the entire center of the shawl is green. And
I think it flows though.
It does. And I was really hoping for like a kind of a foresty, mountainy feel because of just her personality. And as soon as I showed it to one of my friends, she was like, "Oh, it looks like the beach." I was like,
no, I saw the earth. It was very earthy to me.
Yeah. And it's got like so many just like gradual color changes in it.
Yeah.
It's
so pretty.
I think honestly, it's one of my favorite things I've ever made. And the person that it's going to is a knitter and she gives every single thing she makes away. So I want her to have something.
Something extra special.
Yes, this is hers and I really hope she loves it. So this pattern, if you knit it as written, I feel like it's incredibly small. So long about here, I went rogue and I started repeating the same section over and over again. And right now I'm 2 sections past where you're supposed to be. I'm on section 12. You're only supposed to go to section 10. So I will finish this one and then I'm going to probably lightly steam it to see how much stretch I can get because it does have an I-cord edging. So it's not going to stretch as much. Despite the stretchiness of the hand spun as a whole, that edge is not going to have as much give. So I want to see how big I can get it because the worst thing in the world is like with this blanket here, which I dearly love, but when you finish it and you think it's big enough, and then you go to use it and you're like, I could have gone on and made this more usable. So I don't want it to be too small. So I definitely want to finish it. But this is actually my entry for our craft along, which we'll talk about later. At least 2 colors and a shawl. I have no idea how much yardage this is. I have no idea how to count it. I guess I'm just going to weigh it and assume it's DK weight because that's average in it.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's definitely
Yeah.
going to qualify for our minimum
Yeah,
yardage amount.
definitely. I probably qualified it about a third of the way through. Yeah, I would say it's probably well over 1,200 yards at this point, well over it, because like, this was probably the biggest ball that I had, but it's also kind of small with the grist. Although this one, I actually have the yardage down for this one. And this one was over 400 yards, and look how much is left.
Oh,
It's
wow.
not that
Yeah.
much. Yeah. But I used it for like a huge chunk. And then this one was pretty heavily used as well. So anyway, I'm really happy with it. That has been something that I've worked on consistently since January 1st. Like, I've taken a few days here and there where I didn't, but for the most part, every day it gets at least this much put on it, trying to. So then next thing I'm working on, this is a whip that I have resurrected. This is the Northeasterly Blanket, which you just frogged yours.
I did.
This is something, I don't think I was working on this at any point when we talked about things on the podcast, but this blanket like really took the knitting world by storm a couple of years ago. I am doing mine slightly different. I have calculated I'm going to use this neutral, and it's all like wrapped up in my other yarn. I'm going to use
I want
this.
to show you something.
Sure.
My father-in-law just brought me some Asian pears.
I love Asian pears. That's what this is from, is an Asian pear. I love them.
I know.
They're so good. You can cut them in half, eat them with a spoon. I love them. This really does work good for a little yarn bra, at least until it starts getting too big. But anyway, this is I don't remember the name of this yarn, but it reminds me of the old Colonut Jitterbug base, which I loved, that sock yarn base. It was one of my favorites. It's so sturdy. But this is like a taupe, and it's like a hand dyed. And I've got a couple of skeins of it. So I calculated where the neutral sections are half the size of the brighter colored sections. So mine's going to look like chevrons.
Nice.
And I did the thing that they recommended, and I put my live stitches on a piece of dental floss just so I can go in and add more, because this is not a reasonable blanket size for me. It needs to be about double that length. But I kind of wanted to stop and learn how to add on the other colors. So I haven't gotten very far, but I add a few rows to it every couple of days. It'll be just something that I can carry around. And I love my Suburban Stitcher bag back when she made bags. I love my little beachy bag. And then my last thing I'm actively working on is my Blackwork Fun pattern. And I do not know where you can get this, so I will post it, but I'm not going to try to link anything because I don't think this designer actually makes patterns anymore. But if you've been with us for a while, I think I've showed this before. I've got hand-dyed silk floss that I'm using on this, so the colors change over the course of the little motifs. So I've just been working on this here and there as I feel like it. And Tiffany made me the grime guard that I'm using. And she also made me my extra awesome project bag that I keep it in. And it's got a divider down the middle. So I have my board with my pattern on one side, and I keep my Q-snap with my project behind it so that they don't get messed up. So, but I love my Tiffany bag. It is my favorite. So
yeah, and I don't do dividers that often because they break my brain. So
yeah, that was a special gift. I can't remember if that was my birthday or if that was Christmas. It was something.
It
like
was
that.
It was supposed to be like you could carry it with your pins, enamel pins, if you wanted to. I think was what I was going
originally.
For.
Yeah. And it also has sparkle vinyl. It has glitter vinyl.
Oh, I had forgotten about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it has glitter vinyl. I love glitter vinyl. I just like it because I like keeping my board away from because that
Yeah,
silk is kind of delicate. So I like keeping it behind the divider so that nothing rubs on it on the front like a breaks
yeah.
it. Because when you work with that silk thread, you only work with 12-inch pieces. Because if you do more than that, just the effort of pulling it through the linen can make it kind of fuzzy and not look as pretty. So like I'm
Oh,
really protective of the way that
it's
so that
treated.
bag is
Yeah.
perfect. But the funny thing is this fabric, you made it out of this, and I have a skirt out of this fabric that I made myself. So I can really go matchy matchy and wear my skirt and carry my bag.
Well, and now that I'm looking at it, is it similar to the fabric that I used for the Walker bag too, or not quite?
No, not really.
Okay. Okay.
This is a Joann's Boutique because that's
Okay.
where I
All
got
right.
it too.
And okay. The other one I used,
Yeah,
I think I got that from Connecting Threads, maybe,
I think
or
so.
Fabric.com. One of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we got that from fabric.com, the one for the retreat bag. Yeah. The
Okay.
one with the leaves on it, the last one. Yeah. Okay, so that is it as far as what we are currently working on, which obviously is a lot of things. So we're feeling crafty at the moment, which I feel like my mojo came back hard
Me too, sister.
in December.
Yes. Yes. Like I said, I just got I'm not usually one to just jump in and cast on all the things, but
Oh,
I think I got inspired by my crafty bingo too. I feel like they're all very achievable goals this year.
like it
And
makes me feel nervous to cast on more than like 2 things in a week. I'm like, I'm never going to get this done. I'm never going to get this done.
yeah,
And I'll just start
true. Right.
panicking. Of course, right
Um,
now, like this is on a deadline. So I'm being
yeah,
extremely monogamous for the
you're
most
for sure
part.
gonna
Like,
get that one finished.
yeah, like that needs to be done probably by Tuesday or Wednesday. Like it needs to go in the mail fast. And I'm gonna have to block it too. And it is so thick. Like, oh, I didn't show you the backside. I think I almost like the backside better than the front. Look how pretty that is.
Oh, yes, yeah. It could be reversible.
It really could. Like I would wear
Mhm.
that. Well, sorry, the needle's poking through. I would wear this both ways. Like
Yeah.
definitely would. And
Mhm.
it's real cushy fabric. Like I now see why everybody made that. But I just think out of hand spun is just so special, especially because like this one and this one have really long color changes. So
Mhm.
using them, starting this yarn again from a different spot will have a different effect. So super fun. Okay, so
Um,
concluded.
real quick,
Unless you
sorry.
have something else.
What
Sorry.
is the no? What is the nightshade? What is it written for? Like the weight of yarn? Is it
I
written
think
for?
it's written for worsted because I think it's on a
Okay.
7 or an 8. Let me look at my
Okay.
needles. It's on an 8.
Okay.
So, but the thing is you can knit lighter yarns on bigger needles and it'll just give you more drape. And with hand spun, I feel like it's almost better to work it on bigger needles anyway, because that way you have room for the texture to come through that you got from your hand spun. For a very long time, all I ever spun was 2-plies. So I feel like it's perfect for a 2-ply yarn, like hand spun yarn, because it's written for spin cycle, which I'll be honest, I can't afford. So not enough for this. It calls for 5 or 6 skeins, and spin cycle is like 30 something bucks a skein.
Ooh.
I can't do it. I mean, I'd love to be able to support a small business, but that's too rich for a shawl for me.
Mhm.
Let's not talk about what I had in the fiber and how much time I have in the spinning. But you know
Well,
what?
right.
It's something Brittany and I talked about a long time ago on our podcast when we did audio about sunk cost fallacy. You can't get caught up in that, like especially if it's just yarn that's sitting in your house that you're not using. Use it.
Mhm.
Quit
Yeah.
saving it,
Exactly.
just use it. There's sheep make new wool every day. There's a lot of talented indie dyers out there now that weren't out there a year ago, and we can support them and buy new yarn. There will always be something else we love. So yeah,
Yeah.
don't
Definitely.
save the yarn. That's my PSA for this episode. Is don't save the yarn. Just use it.
No. Nope. Exactly.
Just use it, and you'll love it. And if you knit something big with it like this, you get to spend a lot of time with it. I mean, what's today, the 22nd? I've spent 22 days with this yarn so far. So that's a lot of entertainment value.
And it's freeing up, quite a bit of space on your hand spun shelf.
Yeah. Okay, so concluded. we both have made a lot of things. This is going to be a long episode, guys. Sorry. Just break it up into two.
Right.
Sorry. I'm sorry, not sorry about that, because I feel like it's a good thing when you get to see people finish a whole spade of stuff together. I think it's awesome.
Well, and I put this in the notes, like it seems like a lot, but several of my projects were on bulky yarn, so it went fast. But okay, so my thing is a set for my niece, and I don't think she's watching any longer, but we didn't get to do Christmas. There was some illness and all that stuff. So we still haven't seen anyone to hand over Christmas presents for the nieces and nephews. So I still have their gifts. And at this point, I might end up just mailing them because they were going to come up in a couple of weekends. But now she has mandatory ballet practice for some practices they missed due to illness and weather and stuff. So long-winded way of saying I still have their stuff. So V, if you're watching, close your eyes, close your ears.
Fast forward about 3 minutes.
Yeah, I've got a messy bun hat here. Actually, I was going to make her a set anyway, and my sister asked if I could make her a messy bun hat because, as I said, she is a ballerina, and she's a point shoe. I don't know. She's a dancer.
She wears point shoes.
Yes, she does. In fact, today, right now, she's trying out for a potential summer spot with a New York Ballet Academy. It's via Zoom, which is the only reason my sister said she may get to do it. But yeah, so we'll see. But anyway, Erica asked if I could do a Betsy Bun hat so that when she comes out of practice, her hair is still damp from sweat and whatever. So that's what this is. This is the Messy Bun Hat 2 pattern. It was free on Ravelry, just real basic. This yarn is Yarn B, so it came from Hobby Lobby, and it's chunky or something like that. But blush is the colorway. So I've got that, and then I did a pair of fingerless mitts. It's on my project page. I can't remember what the pattern is.
It'll be linked. It'll be linked.
For sure.
Don't worry about it.
I mean, it's just a real basic. It was something about public transportation, some specific public transportation. But mitts, and then this cowl, which is a crazy looking cowl. It's a weird cable. It is. Yeah. I've had this in my library for ever and ever, and I went looking for something that I could use with this bulky yarn, and this is what I got. But I think she'll enjoy it.
Kind of dystopian.
It is, which is not usually my aesthetic or what I would be drawn to, but it is.
Might as well different. Was that one of your crafty bingo squares to use a pattern?
No. You know what? I take that back. It might have been, but I think all of these things, I don't know, one of them did qualify. But yeah, so I've got the set here, and then my sister asked me, I offered to make my sister one of these hats also. So I've got the hat finished, but she would like hers to have a bow, like on the back of it. So I'm doing just a seed stitch rectangle, and I'm just going to pinch it in the center and attach it to the back.
That'd be cute.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I worked on it just to get it finished, but the seed stitch, I kind of stalled with that. So I need to pick that back up because, like I said, I'd like to mail all their stuff.
Yeah.
So that's finished there. And I still have, I think I bought 3 skeins of yarn, and I still have a full skein and a half left after making 2 hats, the mitts, and the cowl. Yes. Yeah, the yarn is like, going forever.
It's
I
like
don't normally work.
It's like Elijah in the oil.
Yeah, right. I don't normally.
It's just never going to run out. You're going to have it forever.
You had one like that too, didn't you? Was it Werby?
It was a mini skein that I ended up using it for like 8 individual socks as heels.
Crazy. It's like the yarn that would
never
end.
It was aqua. It was just like the yarn that was just going to go forever. And I'm getting stared at. Like, he's on top of the chair, the cat is, and he's just like this. And I'm like, what am I doing?
What are you doing to interrupt him?
I don't know, but he's just like, he got up there so he can watch birds, and now his butt is to the birds and he's watching me. And I'm like, I'm not doing anything interesting. Like, what's your problem?
Yeah, I'm sure you're way less interesting than birds.
I would think so. I don't, I'm not, taking food baths in the feeder right now. Like, literally there's one laying in the feeder, like doing this number, and it'll eat for a minute and then it'll do it again. The pandemic has gotten me very into birds. Just have to say. We have 2 feeders now, plus we have 2 hummingbird feeders for the warmer weather months. They won't be back until the end of March, beginning of April. So I'm excited about that. Okay, so what about you? There's something else on there.
Okay, well, I've got it. I don't have it. It's a Santa baby hat.
Uh-huh.
It's a newborn size hat, just, basic white brim and a
Mhm.
longer, elf style, obviously, like what you would think of when a Santa hat. But that was a free pattern on Ravelry, and it's linked in my project notes.
Cool.
I don't remember who the maker was, but I've got one more thing that's not on there. And this again is another crafty bingo square. And that is to make a set of hats for my friend. She's her family's very knit worthy. I made something for a newborn, and it progressed through all of her children, and now it's finally outgrown the last child. So she said when the baby outgrew it, she's like, I'm so sad, like this era has ended. So I'm making kiddo hats for the family. So this one is the baby is now 1, and I don't know. I can't tell if this is really toddler size or not, but if it's not, at least he could grow into it. I mean, that's
Did you
always
knit
better
that
than,
helical? Like, there's no jog. How did you do that?
it's right here, and I did the when you
Joggle
do the
stripes?
second round. Yes, that's what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
But
Because it
this
looks really
is,
good. Like,
thanks.
is it, are they Auburn fans?
Syracuse.
Okay.
Syracuse
Auburn
orange.
colors too. Okay.
Yes, they are. Yes, they're definitely. In fact, this little one's middle name is Otto, because the whole family went to Syracuse University, where it is crazy amounts of cold, like negative. I can't even get into it.
My best friend from high school, my best guy friend from high school, his family was from Syracuse.
Yeah,
His parents went to Syracuse.
But yeah, well, it was where her parents met, and then it's where she and her husband met. So it definitely means a lot to them. So this is the toddler size, and then I've got her middle one is like 3, I believe, and then the oldest is 5. And then I decided that if I have enough yarn, I'll go ahead and make she and her husband both ones too. But I'm also, I would love to do pom-poms, but we'll see how much yarn I've got when I get to the end of all this. So my goal
You may have enough yarn for pom-poms if you don't do the adult hats.
That could be true also. But I bought 3 skeins of the blue, so I'm definitely good with the blue.
Mm-hmm.
It's the orange that may be iffy. So
you could always do one thick stripe of the orange right around, like above the brim, and then do the body of the hat in the blue for the adults.
Oh yeah, that would be good too.
Instead of doing like little stripes, do one big chunk stripe, and that be it.
Yeah,
and then do a blue palm. Then you could do blue palms on the top for everybody.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, there you go. All right.
Super fun.
So but the square is to make hats for Lauren's 3 kids. So as long as I get the 3 of them finished, then that'll satisfy that square. So those are the finishes here.
Super fun. Well, I've got a couple. I kind of went crazy at the end of in December and finished a whole bunch of stuff, like a lot for me all at one time. So this is my changing staircases, and this is actually I cast this on for the Color Street Cruise in 2019.
I remember, yeah.
And I lost track of where I was or something, so I just tinked back to the last repeat and went ahead and redid it. But this is a skein that's actually super color accurate. Wow. This is 2 of my hand in their sparkle sock base in Prim, and they have not dyed in years and years, and it makes me horribly sad. But this is one of those things that, like, I'm really glad I used it for this, because I think it was a really good match for the pattern. And this is actually, because I know she doesn't watch, this is actually Alyssa's birthday present. And I haven't blocked. Yeah, I think it'll be perfect for her. I think she'll really like it. She loves the little shawlette. I actually got, I mean, it's definitely big enough to be able to be worn. It's a free pattern. I think it's Dragon Horde, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That wrote it, because I know a lot of people who've knit it, And it's a very easy pattern. If you're a new shawl knitter, this would be a really good shawl for you to start with because it's very intuitive. Once you've knit the repeat like twice, you'll know how to work it. You can just basically knit until you run out of yarn. And with this one, I ended up with 1.5 yards left. So I did good with the yarn chicken because I actually was like texting with a couple of people like, when should I cut it off? And they were like, oh, cut it off now. And I was like, I think I can keep going. So I just threw a lifeline in and kept going. And I ended up getting two more of the sections in it. So anyway, it needs to be blocked. It is not blocked yet. And I'll cover why nothing is blocked in a minute. Then I finished the Perfect Pocket Shawl. This is something that I started to take to the soccer field last year when Madeline was playing soccer, not at school because she plays at school now. So it's weird. Her soccer season now is like she plays on Fridays after school, so we don't see her play anymore.
Oh,
It's kind of
right.
sad because my in-laws pick her up on Fridays, so we're not at the soccer field. So we hear stories, but we don't actually see her play. But it's a lot more convenient for our family because we don't have to take a separate trip out to go do things. And she's playing with her classmates that she's in school with, and she really enjoys it. So it's a better situation. But anyway, this is something that I started to take with me to the soccer field. This pattern I think is $6 or $7. It's a paid for pattern. But it's the Perfect Pocket Shawl is the name, but I made the pockets and I've never attached them because honestly, I think I like it without the pockets. But it is fringed on both ends and I added about a foot to the length. So I used 5 balls of the Lion brand Heartland. Is it Heartland?
That sounds right. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
This was the Great Smoky Mountains colorway. I do know that. So it's an acrylic, but I love it. It's super warm. It's nice to just like wrap around myself when I'm sitting on the couch if I'm a little chilled. It actually lives on the back of the couch. I just like throw it up there and pull it down when I need it. But I really love it. It's nice. You start out with one stitch and move to another one and then go back to the other stitch for the other end. So nice pattern, good if you're newer at crochet. Does take a little bit of stamina to finish because it's pretty big, but I really like it. So that was another thing I finished. And then I finished a pair of mitts for my mom. The picture is on my Ravelry project page. I actually started what I thought was going to be Christmas socks and then was looking at it and was like, this is so cute. I really need to just make some mitts for my mom out of this. So I had done what was like the leg and then I just made up the rest. And I really like the way that they fit. They're the best fitting mitts that I've ever made. So I'm actually going to write it up and offer it up for free. So if anybody wants to test knit for me, it's fingering weight and I will try to get the pattern written up within the next, month or two, hopefully, while it's still cold enough outside. But I really do want to like write it up and they'll probably just be like one size because I don't really want to do any grading or anything. But they're great for self-striping yarn. And I used a set from a new to me dyer called SSK Yarners out of North Carolina. And the yarn was so cute. It was a Kelly green stripe and then a speckle stripe on white. And it came with a red mini skein. So the cuff and the ribbing on the thumb and the top of the mitt was red. And then the body was green and white. So they're very cute. And she's been wearing them every day at work because her office is freezing. So they turned out really good. I'm really happy with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they looked good. And it was a good idea. Like a really good idea.
Yeah, I've made her a couple of pairs of fingering weight mitts over the years, but nothing. Well, actually, I don't think I've made her fingering weight. I think I've made her heavier weight than that. But she still wears the very first pair I ever made her. And I cut the tail off too short and had to try to weave it in, and it keeps popping out. So I was like, Mom, just get rid of those. I'll make new. Like, bless her. So the last knitting project that I have finished is the Oak Trail hat. I had to take a leaf out of Tiffany's book. It's a leaf.
I see what you did there.
I know.
Waka waka.
So Madeline has a new little best friend at school, and her family just moved here from California, and they are freezing because they have grown up in the heat, and they are lifelong Californians who just moved to Tennessee. And like right now, it is 32 degrees outside for a high today, and they are
Here too.
freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the mom cut all of her hair off at Thanksgiving, and I was like, oh, we don't do that here till the spring. Like, not without good hats. And she's like, I don't own a good hat. So anyway, I made her the Oak Trail hat because she's got just like the cutest face, and I really think like a cloche is going to look fantastic on her. And she's like, I've never had a cloche, and I'm like, I can tell you're going to look good in a cloche. So this is Malabrigo Rios in the fog colorway, and it's kind of like a vanilla-y beige, but it's got little blips of lavender in it, and it's not really showing on the screen. But like some of these darker blips that look like dark, it's actually purple, like a really pale purple.
Okay.
So
okay.
it's a
like
really,
a London fog.
yeah,
Yes. All right.
it's
Yeah,
a
okay.
really
All right.
interesting. You can kind of see like that's purple right through there. But anyway, it's a really. I had not knit this, and I'd not knit an Alana Dacos pattern in ages, and I forgot just how insane modular knitting makes me feel until it starts coming together, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not just crazy, this is weird. But I basically knit this in 2 days, just watching shows on TV and just working on it. And the brim took longer than the rest of the hat.
Yeah, once you get that brim done, the crown is nothing,
because it's a super cool pattern, and this is from, I think, the original Botanical Knits. So you start here and you knit all the way around to about right here, and then you work it in the round and you work this up, and it's just like the whole thing comes together, and it's just crazy awesome. So anyway, so that is for her, and then I'll go ahead and spoil one of my incomings. So also, the daughter has no hat. Madeline's bestie has no hat, and I tried to explain to the mom about earaches from wind in Tennessee, which is the thing. You go out without a hat that covers your ears, and you end up with an earache. And this has started happening. So I had a feeling it was going to. And wow, this is not showing up at color accurate at all. But this is Malabrigo Rios in fuchsia, and I am going to knit an ear flap hat for this child.
Good idea.
Out of this.
Yeah.
That way it's not up to her to raise or lower a brim to cover her ears. It's just on it. So I think that that'll be easier. So that is my next cast on as soon as I finish the night shift. It's happening. So that way mother and daughter have hats, and the dad's a truck driver, so he's not there a whole lot. So I'm not that worried about him having a hat because he's inside a truck cab. I think he'll be okay. But the mom and the daughter, like, they have a dog, they walk all the time and all this. And she told me the other day, she was like, I can't get warm. I said, yeah, first winter's going to be the worst, because you're just not used to it. But last winter was mild, and this winter has been cold.
Here too. Yep.
Like way worse.
It has been.
Did you see that our friend that lives in Columbia, South Carolina, got snow last night?
Yeah, because I saw that she had a picture of like a lit palmetto tree in her front yard, like a Christmas. I guess it was a Christmas decoration, but yeah, snow coming down on top of it.
Yeah, for sure. Crazy. Well, anyway, so the last thing I have finished, you actually have to show because it was part of your Christmas.
I do.
present.
Yeah. Let me set this down here.
So I had found a picture of not picture, a pattern from Frosted Pumpkin that I just really wanted to make for Tiffany. So this is the Will You Be My Neighbor cross stitch. And I kind of like framed it temporarily in that frame, which you can change it out if you like something different.
It's working out just fine. I set it on my bookcase.
It's cute.
Yeah,
I liked
it a lot.
I actually started that like back in August after my first knee surgery, and worked on it for like weeks and weeks and weeks, and then put it down for a little bit, and I was like, oh crap, I better get this done before Christmas.
Yeah, right.
So,
well, that's kind of with these mini socks. With this black one the other night, I showed Michael, and I said, does this toe look weird? Like the foot of it, does it look crazy? And he was thinking I was talking about this because he said, well, that doesn't look very good. And I said, well, that's just the way it's going to do that. And then I held up this one and he says, honey, they don't match. And I said, I know, they're not supposed to match. It's not a pair. And then so I proceeded to tell him what my plan was. And I thought his brain was going to explode because he's just like, you have nothing else to do but make these socks that are going to hang on a wall. Like, he just didn't get it at all. And he's not usually, like, I'm usually the very practical one. But anyway, he just, and I said, and he said, it's 11 months away. And I said, yes, but think about it. If I try to cram it all in at the beginning of December or the end of, like, I'll make myself crazy. So now is the time to be doing it so that I'm not crazy.
I think the concept of knitting garments or accessories to stay warm is a little easier for the muggles to understand than I'm going to knit decorations for my house.
True. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You mean you're going to knit something you can't use? Yeah, I am. Because sometimes it's just about the act of creating. It's not actually about like feeling like they're useful. Of course, cute stuff to sit around is useful to me because it's a pleasure to look at. And then, no, I made that. But yeah, I see people like having like a little head scratcher moment. Like, why are you taking all this time to do this? But it's just, it's either that maker impulse or it isn't. And if, you don't have it, you don't have it. And I've got a couple of friends that are like, I would love to learn how to knit, but I just don't have the compulsion to make anything. And I'm like, then don't buy the stuff to knit because you won't use it.
Right. Or you'll learn the basics and then be just like set it down and that'll be that. Like, oh, well, now I know how to do it. Fine. Moving on.
Yeah. So how did you end up faring on your 2021 crafty bingo?
I finished all but one square. And that was a spinning goal. And so I did not put any spinning goals for 2 years in a row. Usually I'm very motivated by this thing to get the things done, but I just fell short on the spinning. So I did not put a spinning goal on mine this year, but I'm a little bit, I'm a little bit opposite than you. Like, I have to be specific with my goals or else if it's too broad for me, then I need more direction than that. So, that's why I said I'm pretty sure that this year's goals are definitely achievable. But I feel good about that. How about you?
I finished all but the 2 spinning goals.
Yeah.
Those are the only ones I didn't do. But you know what? I got 2 new knees in 2021.
Right. Spinning really wasn't in the cards.
Well, and with like I got a new couch. Now I could probably, because we got this little table that my laptop's actually sitting on right now, I could probably set up the Hanson on this and spin and just run the cord behind the couch. But I sat in the recliner in a different position and I had nowhere to put that wheel. And I tried to put it on like the footrest thing, but it was awkward and it was at a weird angle and it hurt my shoulders. So I didn't, and I could not spin on Susie at all. Like, I could not treble. There was no way. So yeah, I just really, I don't know. I didn't put any spinning goals on my 2022. But I was proud of where I ended up on 2021 because I have literally never gotten that close to a full blackout card. That's brand new for me. This year for my 2022 ones, I guess we're just going to move into incoming because that's part of, like, we both kind of like work on it all year, but it's like always the incoming thing. A lot of mine this year were try new craft or technique, which there's a lot of knitting techniques that I still haven't tried, as far as like an actual project. Never done brioche. I haven't staked an actual project. Like, I've staked like a sample of something, but I've never staked an actual project. There's a lot of crochet techniques I've never tried before that I think would be really interesting. I have a lot of make a project of my choice, any craft, because that could be spinning, that could be knitting, that could be crochet, that could be working on epoxy tumblers, that could be a lot of different things. I do have a couple of finisher Froggle whips. I think there's just 3 of them because honestly, I don't have that many things that I think I will want to finish. So they will likely be frogged, but I didn't want to limit myself by just saying frog them. So, and then I did put a couple of make her finish an embroidery, cross stitch, or other needlework project on there, because those are things that, you know, I've been working on, and I've been doing Bargello, which is new, and those projects are fun. And then the only things I have on there that are super specific for me was I did let me find it. Sew a project using stash fabric, and it can be a whip that I've already got started. So I started a quilt last year before I ended up with my first knee surgery, and I never got past like the first 10 blocks. So once my knees are better, I can sit down and at the machine and really work on that. I would like to finish that quilt because it was actually a new quilt for Madeline's bed. So I'd like to finish that, but I don't know that I'll get it done like in time for her birthday this year. But you know, it'd be nice to maybe get it done for Christmas. And we put the Christmas stockings up, and I may have to have him get them back out for me, but I really need to sew new linings for them because the linings that are in them are not sturdy and they're starting to slip and like come unsewn. So I need to like actually figure out how to do that properly because my stockings are ones that I knitted. So, you know, but yeah, you can go on my Crafty Bingo project page and look at my goals, viewers, if you want to, but it's just I try to leave it pretty loose just so I can fit in whatever I'm working on. And I love my make a gift ones because I put make three gifts on one goal because I do tend to make things in batches anyway. But like, here's one gift,
Yeah,
ready to go, and this will be number 2. And then I plan on knitting some stuff for Madeline this year, as always. She'll get a school picture sweater again, as always.
I think a new approach I'm trying this year that I've seen other people do in the past, and I did to a degree last year, but I'm going to try to focus on like 3 goals, 3 squares a month. And, you know, I think that, I mean, and I don't have to hold myself too strictly to that if someone else comes along or whatever. You know, then I can jump into whatever I need to. But I've got, like I said, my little socks, I've got 2 squares that they make 12. So I thought if I made, you know, if I could do
12 in the first half of the year, 12 in the second half of the year.
Yeah, like 3 a month, or I don't know, something
you know,
along those lines.
All it takes is one time of you guys taking a road trip, and you'll probably finish all 6 for the 6 months in that, you know, or six in a go or whatever.
And I don't have my card in front of me. If I did anything about make a pair of socks, it was just one. So yeah, I think a lot of my goals were, you know, a little bit more challenging, like things that had patterns. One of them was to work a project with mohair because I've never worked with mohair before, and I will never bring it to your house, I promise.
Thank you.
I've got fingerless mitts, I think, in mind for that. So yeah, just I try to think outside the box of what, you know, what would be a new sort of, you know, something I hadn't done before.
Well, one of the things that I'm going to do that I didn't put on there specifically is I'm going to put a border on this to make it a little bit bigger. It's folded in half over the back of the couch. Like half is on this side, half is on that side, but it's a little small. You know, typical me. I get tired of working on it and I'm like, it's big enough, it's done. And it wasn't. But the problem with one of these is you're going on the diagonal, so you have to kind of like think, okay, well, it's going to be this measurement wide. And I was looking at the diagonal thinking, oh, that's much bigger. No, the short edge is what you got to worry about with one of these. So I'm going to put a border on this. And one of my friends is an expert crocheter, and she sent me a link to a border that she likes for corner to corners. And I was like, sweet. So, so my friend Ashley and I decided, we were both sad we didn't get an advent calendar this past year, but we were both broke and couldn't afford one. So it happens. So we made an advent for each other, and we're going to have them for February. So we're going to have an advent calendar for February because that's just,
I think that's even better.
I think it is too, because everybody else already did theirs and we're like, we're going to do ours now. So whatever she sends me is what this border is going to be out of. So
Oh, nice. Good
it'll be
idea.
fun. Yeah. So that way I can just, I'm going to triple strand it just like I did this. And that way it'll have the same amount of weight to it and it won't buckle or anything. And I'm just going to, when I start opening hers, I'm just going to wait till I get 3 days and then I'm going to start crocheting. So 2 days, 3 days worth of yarn, wad them in little balls and go. So I'm excited because I think we did 10-gram minis
Okay.
for each other. So yeah, I'm excited about that. I think that's going to be super fun. And then if I run out, I've got plenty of minis that I can use. I actually, when I was rearranging my living room for this couch, I found a lot of minis that I had forgotten and I had put them in weird places. So now I've got them all together in one bin and I've got plenty of minis. It's going to be fine. So anyway, that's what I'm planning to do for this. And then that will just be one of my makeup project of my choice.
Yeah.
Things. But yeah, I'm super excited about the fact that she and I are doing that. I think that's going to be really fun. We had done that years ago, and a lot of the ones that she sent me are in this.
Are in there. Oh, well, there you go. Full circle.
Yeah. Yeah. She and I became friends. She used to have a podcast. She doesn't have one anymore, but she used to live in Charleston and she had a podcast with a friend of hers. And we became friends through both of our podcasts. And she listened to mine and I watched hers and all that because they were video. So yeah, it was super fun. We've kept in touch for a long time. Good times. Okay, so maker's moment. I did finish up those bowl cozies. So kind of like side note. So I did not find out until the 6th on Monday at like 4:45 of December that I was actually having surgery on the morning of the 8th on my knee. So the weekend before, when we were still waiting to hear, I like scrambled and got everything finished for Christmas that I could. So I had to finish up all of those bowl cozies and I had to make those towels that were for my mother-in-law and my aunt for Christmas. So I did get all of that done. I ended up making 29 bowl cozies, I think. It was a lot because I kept adding people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like I did one for the principal at Madeline's school. I did one for the student teacher she has this year. I did, of course, one for her teacher. And then, of course, I made the towels. And I actually had enough of the toweling fabric that I made 11 full size and 9 full size. And then I made 2 that were shorter that are mine. And so I ended up giving my mother-in-law 4. I gave my aunt 4. I gave 1 to my PT with a jar of apple butter. And then I kept 2. So I got all of those done. But yeah, I busted my hump and then I haven't been able to do anything since.
Right.
This knee has been super painful, like really bad. It's a lot worse than the first one. I'm actually sitting here massaging it right now because it's irritated. And I saw the doctor Thursday and he said, this is gonna be your worst winter. And I was like, I freaking hope so. Like this is so bad. It hurts so bad. But and it's hurt worse from minute 1. As soon as I woke up from surgery, I was like, wow, there you are. And I asked him about it and I said, well, was it a lot worse? And he said, no, it was just different. He said, but whenever you have them back to back like I did, he's like, most people say that the second one's worse because their body's so worn out from rehabbing the first one. Like you haven't had time to recover from that constant, push to try to get better. And then you have to turn around and do it again. And ugh. But I mean, I'm healing okay. I'm just hurting a lot, and this weather's not helping because the cold just gets in my bones. It just makes me ache. But he said, by the late spring, early summer, he said you're gonna feel like a different person. And I was like, that sounds really good right now.
Right. Pushing on toward that goal.
Yeah, well, the left one's doing fine. It actually, it aches and stuff from the cold, but it doesn't hurt like it did, like post-op. It's better. Of course, it's been since August. It ought to be, but yeah. So I'm only 6 weeks out from the right one, so it's been kind of hard, but yeah. So as soon as I finish up my obligation knitting, which is my night shift and the little hat for the bestie, I'm going to start a new cross stitch. I just don't know which one yet. I just want another cross stitch project. I've missed it. I mean, black work's fun, but it's not cross stitch. Totally different technique. So I don't know. I kind of want to do like a Hamilton one.
Oh,
I have a project. A pattern that I've picked out on Etsy. I haven't bought it yet. It says, "I'm an inimitable, I'm an original," which is a line from Aaron Burr's song. So wait for it, which is my favorite song from Hamilton. So I'm kind of like, maybe I just want to make that because that'll be something really cool to put on the wall in my office because it's like a power phrase for me. I really love that. So thought about doing that one. There's also one that I found on Etsy that's super funny. It says, it has a picture of a betta fish and it says, "Like the betta fish, I am also very beautiful and want to fight everybody." I'm just like, that's funny. And most of the cross stitches that I want to really do, they have cussing in them, so I can't do them because of my child being able to read. So I'm like, well, I could do that one. That one doesn't say anything bad. But
right, exactly.
I just thought it was really funny when I saw that.
It is funny.
I think it was the one. It was the same people that made that pattern that you were making. You were making that one that had it was like a phrase.
I don't remember. I know what you're talking about, but I'm blanking completely on the phrase.
Yeah.
But there's so many good ones out there, like so many subversive.
Sassy. I like a good sassy cross stitch because it's such a pure medium, and you always think about like the samplers and the alphabet and all that, and then to have it be like something totally raunchy is really funny.
Yeah.
I love it. And if you're a Golden Girls fan, which I know a lot of people are rediscovering their love from the Golden Girls because of Betty White passing, there are a lot of Golden Girls quotes and Golden Girls cross stitch designs and stuff. And Tiffany did me one that was the plane coming into Miami and the sunset, I guess it was, and it said, "Thank you for being a friend." You did that one for me years ago.
Yes, and that was I'm pretty sure that was an Etsy find. Etsy's a good place for a lot of them.
Oh yeah, and any kind of digital download, Etsy's pretty good about. Just point of advice, my second PSA, I have a PSA for all the things. If you're going to buy one that's possibly covered by copyright, which there are people that do sell things on there that are covered by copyright, and I'm not passing judgment one way or the other, but if you do buy a pattern and it's Marvel, DC, Harry Potter, Golden Girls, whatever, download it immediately, because if they get in trouble and they get their site pulled, then you won't have your pattern you paid for, and there's nothing you can do about it because you'll pull it down. So that's just like a good rule of thumb for anything though. If you buy a digital download it right then, don't wait.
And Etsy doesn't have a good platform for finding your downloads. Like it's frustrating. You've got to go back and dig through your purchases and find I don't know. There's a lot of things.
You can find it on, I can't remember if it was my iPad or my laptop, but there's one specific one that was like, it was easier on one than it was on the other one. I know that you can't find them at all from a phone, but I just download everything and just save it on my cloud. That way, it's not taking up space.
Well, and then you can access it anywhere that you are.
Exactly. And, if you find out, just for instance, that Michael's is having a killer deal on floss, and you're a cross stitcher, it's, if you already have them where you can access them, then you can go on there, pull up your pattern and go buy your floss for, way less. Cause I tend to wait until they put floss on sale, and then I'll pull up like 7 patterns, make a list of all the floss I need and go buy all of it at one time, and then bag it for each pattern with like the pattern name on it. That way I've already got the supplies ready to go when I want to start it. So yeah, I actually had done that before my first surgery. I'd gotten all these little tiny frosted pumpkin fall themed patterns and bagged them up and ready to go to make. I didn't get to any of them. I
But
just
they're
worked
there.
on yours. But I'm like, they're not gonna
Yeah.
go bad, and
Uh-uh.
they're in my
Right.
phone, and it's not a big deal. And
Yeah.
like bigger download companies like them, they have like a huge catalog. They actually have like a thing where you can go in and access all of your downloads in one place. But just Etsy's not great about that. And if somebody decides to pull their stuff from Etsy and they want to go to a different platform too, you don't have access to it through your Etsy purchases anymore anyway. So anyway, just a thought. Download it now, save it to the cloud, save it to a flash drive if you don't have a cloud, whatever. But anyway, I do want to start a new needlework project. I think that will be really fun. So what else have you been doing that's been makery?
The only thing, and I should have looked at the show notes before I was gathering all my stuff. I didn't bring them in with me. I've been doing the knit and crochet group with my neighborhood, and we were supposed to get together just before Christmas, like the week of Christmas. And so I had made, they're all crocheters. And so I had made crochet stitch markers with Christmas themed little jewels or charms. But I didn't get the chance to hand them out because I've not seen these people. I was supposed to go last week and I was under the weather. So I will see them this coming week. And
Okay.
I'll just hang on. I think I'm just going to hang on to the markers until next Christmas. But that was something fun that I hadn't done in a while, was to pull out the jewelry making.
Well, now that we're not
supplies.
doing a stitch marker swap with Into the Wool, we don't have a reason to make a whole bunch of
Yeah,
markers
yeah,
anymore.
exactly. I've got so many, and I love the ones that I have.
Mm-hmm.
I did enjoy that about a stitch marker swap, is the variety of options that you get to try, and just to see everyone's creativity with what they choose to do.
Yeah, like the thing they think
so-
represents them. Like a lot of them did ones that they
Yes.
felt like they represented them as a person, and I just love that. Yeah, I have all of mine together. I finally gathered them all into one container, and so all of mine are together. And some of them I haven't used yet because I still have the person's tag on them, and I'm like, maybe I'll just leave that on there. I miss everybody.
Some years I've even kept that for a year together too. Put them all on a safety pin or something like that.
Well,
so that they were all
the one
together.
thing I loved the last time, Cindy Cook had the little muslin bags that she gave out with her marker attached to them, but she gave us a bag so we could put them all in it. And I was like, that was so thoughtful. Why did I never think of that? I loved it. Because I had mine stapled to my business card so that people knew which one came from me, and it was with my card. So
well, so I've got that, and then I really haven't done much of anything else, but I do have, again, on my crafty bingo, make my reborn baby, because I've had this kit now for 3 years and it's not going to paint itself. So actually I've got to cut hair this afternoon. I guess I'm going to watch the Auburn game, I don't know, sometime. I'm recording it now, but I've turned off my ESPN notifications because I certainly don't want to know. I want to watch it. It's Auburn in Kentucky, and it's such a good game. But anyway, all that to say, after I do haircuts and obligations and stuff, I'm going to start the process of making this doll baby. So I'm excited about it not because I'm really into dolls, but because it's a newborn size and it's going to give me an opportunity
it's
to
a photo prop.
Yes, no doubt. This is definitely a newborn size. I mean, I've got that creepy newborn doll, # creepy newborn doll, that's got I feel like its head is probably more of a 2-month size, whereas this reborn doll is definitely, true newborn size.
You know what I did the other day? I have a plastic strawberry toy chest. That was mine from when I was little, and I brought it to the house for Madeline, and it's got a bunch of my old stuff in it, which she pulls out and plays with, but it has my Cabbage Patch doll in it.
Oh yeah.
And I measured her head, and she is a smaller end of newborn size.
Okay.
So I may use her.
Yeah.
Sometimes. My mom and I were talking about that because she's actually wearing the gown that I came home from the hospital in.
Oh, neat.
I need to take it off and wash it. I need to take it home and take it off and wash it though, because it's getting kind of grimy. But I played with it for years, and
Yeah.
It's almost 39 years old at this point. So, yeah, Madeline's not really into dolls. She's into cars. She likes
Okay.
cars. She likes cars and Tinker Toys. She's just not really into dolls. She takes her dolls and has them interact with the cars and the Tinker Toys. Like, it's not really like playing baby dolls. She doesn't like play mommy and feed it and all that. No, that's just never really been her thing. Which I wasn't super into dolls either. So it's like not really.
Wasn't. No.
Yeah, I mean, I've got friends whose daughters like have to take their baby doll with them everywhere, and I'm just like, that's so sweet, but that is not my child.
See, now the little niece B, she is all into dolls and stuffed animals and all that kind of stuff. And if these reborn babies weren't so expensive to make, I would consider making her one. But maybe when she's older,
if she's interested. That's kind of a big commitment, though.
But she's always been into doll babies, and I didn't send you a picture. She got a new pig. And
you told me about it.
I did. Okay. Well, and so did I send you the picture of her pushing the thing around in the stroller?
Yeah.
Okay, I did. Yeah. So not only are the strollers appropriate for the baby dolls, but the pig. Wilbur.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Wilbur just got fixed too. Michael and Kent went down there to pick up Kent's tractor, and poor Wilbur, he had to snip.
Poor Wilbur. Well, I'm sure he'll be much sweeter for it.
Yeah,
like most animals.
They don't want any.
Is he eventually going to be food, or is he going to be a pet?
No, he's a pet only, because that was my first question: was, is he a 4-H project? Because she's now old. No, she might have one more year.
Now, can't she?
She's always shown in open class, but I believe now she's old enough to show in 4-H as well. So I just assumed that it was a 4-H project, but Mom said no, that it's
he's a pet.
Yeah, he's
probably
going to go and live with Peppa, because Peppa's still around too. So that's probably why they got him fixed, so that they could.
Yeah, that way he doesn't get her aggressive toward Peppa. Yeah.
Yeah.
How long do they live? Is it 7 or 8 years?
I have no idea. Yeah, I don't know, because every other.
My great uncle raised them for food, so I know they lived about 2. That was all I ever.
That was their lifespan.
They got big, and then they became bacon.
Right.
Part of it. All right. So in our ears, I've started listening to a new Diane Setterfield book, which she is the one who wrote The 13th Tale, which is one of my absolute favorite fiction books of all time. It's a new book called Once Upon a River. I think it came out this past year. I've been listening to that. So that's other than just like the podcast I've already mentioned, that's really all I've been doing. I mean, still working through. I've got like one more Dresden book finished, and then I'm done with that. But I think there's a new one coming out soon, so I may have something new to talk about when that comes out. But yeah, I'm just loving Once Upon a River. It's a really well done book, and she's a fantastic writer, and she's one of my favorites. So if you haven't checked out Diane Setterfield books, give them a shot. I think you'll like them. They're kind of broad appeal, so it's good stuff.
I probably should download my Libby or Overdrive app. It's been so long that my iPod just offloaded the app.
Yeah, I haven't used the Hoopla login in ages. Like,
yeah,
I was really listening to just podcasts and going back and re-listening to stuff I already have through Audible. So it was kind of like, well, and I've still got the new Outlander book I haven't touched. Chris finished it. Like, he's completely done.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, he started it like as soon as I downloaded it. I think he needed a book right then, but I was still listening to Dresden, so haven't really been, but been listening to podcasts a lot, and and watching a lot of true crime TV. So not as much. What about you? What are you listening
to? Aside from like you, I've got my norm, the SEC football podcast, although now that season's over, it's kind of slowed down a little bit.
Yeah.
And the true crime, I did find a couple more true crime. I realized that I had a list up of the football podcast, but I didn't have one up of the murder podcast. So there's a link for that in the show notes now, a list of ones. Actually, I need to update it because I found a couple more. And you and I had talked about listening to one together. The Murdaugh.
The Murdaugh murders.
Is that okay? Yes. Yeah. I did find the one that you were talking about. Yeah. So I downloaded that one, but there's 2 others that I also found to go along with this case. So I thought it would be kind of fun to see what the differences are according to different hosts.
Well, that was actually, so real quick sidetrack on that. If somebody who watches this hasn't heard of this story, it's actually a currently developing story. It's not over. There's a family in South Carolina who was into some shady stuff, and it didn't come out until one of their family members committed a crime, and somebody died as a result, and it ended up just causing the whole house of cards to fall in on itself. And 2020 just did a special called The Fall of the House of Murdaugh, and it was just on last week, and so it's available for streaming if you haven't seen it. But the son who was responsible for the death of this girl, he and the mother ended up getting shot to death outside the house, and they still aren't sure who did it. And then it came out that the dad's got like a whole bunch of shady stuff in his past, and he's a drug addict and all this other stuff. So he's in jail, can't meet bail. He still hasn't been tried. Like, there's a lot of stuff, and they still don't know who killed the mom and the younger son. So it's and there's other murders or suspicious deaths that have been attached to this family as well, but most of it's rumor at this point. So it's still an active investigation, but it's a really interesting story, and it takes place really close to where I used to go to the beach as a kid, so that I'm really familiar with that area. So it's just kind of like, wow. And it's so crazy that it would make a heck of a movie. So anyway, there's several podcasts about it, and the one podcast host, she was interviewed on the 2020 special, so hers is the one that I've been listening to. It's called it is called the Murdaugh Murders Podcast, and it's by Mandy Matney. So that's the one I've been listening to, but Tiffany had found 2 other ones, so there's other ones out there. So there's multiple perspectives of what's going on, but the facts in this are just like the craziest thing you've ever heard. And it is a true, like, wealthy Southern family who was doing stuff, and they were getting away with it because of their reputation, and people were always giving them the benefit of the doubt, and then everything came down around their ears. It's the craziest story. Yeah, my husband watched it with me, and he was like, this is insane. Yeah, quite frankly, yeah, it is. It's one of the crazier stories that I've heard.
I feel like that with most cases that I listen to, like small town murder, like they say, like the crazy part is that a lot of people don't think about on the other side of it. They don't think about how they're going to get away with it, or they don't plan very well.
But a lot of the people on small town murder, it's like done in a fit of passion, and I think that like the thing with the Murdaughs is all of that was calculated and planned and thought out ahead of time. Like,
and it could be anybody.
Yeah, it really could. And it is just like, there's just people out there who get away with stuff and other people who don't. And it's just crazy to listen to that and know that, like, there's cover-ups that have happened where people have just like gotten away with doing horrible things to other people, and that nothing ever happens to them because they've got this family reputation. It's crazy. But anyway, so check those out. And then you got a new Golden Girls podcast.
I do. And it's funny because I found this before Betty White's passing. Not by much, but I had it's a recap show. It's called Always Be My Sisters, and the main host is Alicia, and then she has a co-host, Coco, and so she breaks it down, episode by episode, but it's a little bit different. She always talks about the fashion, and I'm going to do a rewatch of the show. It's been a long time since I've done that, and so I'm looking forward to, maybe listening alongside these episodes, but listening about the fashion. And then this these two have a background in film or something like movies, something along those lines, where they notice production things more than I would. So I appreciate that. But also she brings in guests that maybe have a theme, like whatever the theme of the show is. Like the one where Rose's sister comes to visit and she's lost her eyesight. Alicia did an interview with someone from some organization for the blind or something like that. So yeah, it's a little bit different. Each show is roughly a half an hour, 40 minutes. It's not very long. And you know, I'm really enjoying that one. So Always Be My Sisters. And I've listened to most of my stuff on Downcast. But then I also have the Apple podcast, and I'm sure it's probably available, you know.
I have Overcast, and it's on there. I have Overcast. It does.
Yeah.
I will say, if anybody is wanting to watch the Golden Girls and you have Hulu has the entire series, as well as the one and only season of The Golden Palace, which is the spinoff that is just Blanche and Rose and Sophia, because Dorothy B. Arthur had left the show. So there's only one season of that, and they buy a hotel. So it's funny. It's not my favorite because it's not as good as the original, because like some of the dynamics gone because Dorothy's character's not there anymore. But it's a really good, it's just kind of fun to see like the transition, and then of course it ends. So, but if you want to watch the Golden Girls and follow along with the podcast Tiffany talked about, Hulu is a good option. I also have it on DVD because my mom bought it for me years ago, because I've always been such a fan. I have the entire series on DVD. And it's got like, you know, behind the scenes stuff and all that, which is super duper fun. Love it. Okay, so what's on your nails?
I just I've realized that Fridays are my nail days apparently now. So I just last night put on Blushing and Flushing. You talk about wearing your pink.
I love that
on you. Thanks. Well, it's a beautiful color. I love this color. I'm just not completely sold that it's for my skin tone, it's probably more so, it's not fair to the colorway. It's more so because I almost always wear dark colors, and so it's just throwing me.
Well, and also it's the middle of the winter, and if you were tan, it would look totally different on you.
That is true. Yeah.
Well,
that is true.
So funny
I love it.
That color is the base for the new Valentine set, Queen of Hearts. It's got that base with heart nail art on top of it.
Okay.
So that's fun. Our Valentine's collection just came out 2 weeks ago, I guess. So we've got 5 new Valentine sets, and 2 of them are all year round, in my opinion. But they're really fun this year. But I'm wearing Brave and Bold, which was ovarian cancer awareness, I think. It's I think it was ovarian cancer awareness, because it is teal. And then I'm wearing on top of it a new limited clear glitter overlay we have called Raise the Roof. It's got like bar shaped glitter that looks like confetti. So I just changed mine right before we started recording, because I'd had on another set and I was just not feeling it anymore. And I'm trying to change mine a little more often, because I've gotten back into like that wear it for a week and then change it timing. And I'm like, I kind of want to do new nails more often than that. So, and I keep cutting mine off over and over and over. I don't know why. I'm liking them shorter right now. So anyway, but yeah, that's what I'm wearing. And if you click on any of the color straight links in the show notes, they will take you to Tiffany's party. If you're happening to watch this way after the fact and her link has expired, if you just click at the top, it'll say click to shop a party. She'll have a new link, because she always has one. So just letting you know on that.
And thanks for anybody that does that. I've gotten some rewards for some of you shopping, so thank you.
So Where the Wild Things Are was your Christmas acceptable?
Yeah, just Christmas. That's pretty much. My son flew in from the Nashville area, and we had a nice visit with him. Nice long visit. Christmas is always a long visit. Getting him home was a little hairy. He ended up getting back 2 days later than planned. Wow. One, because they had canceled the flight because it snowed here. We ended up with well, varying degrees around the Southern Maryland area, but my backyard saw about a foot.
Wow.
And it was underprepared for across the board. It was just crazy. I don't know if no one believed what was coming, or I don't know.
Probably.
It was very wet snow too, so it was super heavy. A lot of areas, rural areas, were without power for 3 days, where they, to get
Wow.
the trees and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, his flight home was delayed, and then he ended up being back 2 days later than planned. But that was fine. And then he got home just in time for it to be snowing in his area.
Yeah.
And so he went straight from the airport to work on Wednesday afternoon. He was a couple hours late, and then on Thursday they closed because of the weather. Or they closed early. No, I think they closed all together, and Friday they closed early or something to that effect. So it was
And that
wild.
all missed us. It was supposed to hit here, and we were like 2 or 3 degrees too warm. And it just, so we got ice, but not a lot of it. And then we didn't actually get like actual accumulation, but my mom did up in Northeast Tennessee. Of course, she lives in the mountains, so she got quite a bit, but we didn't really get anything. We keep almost getting it, and it's funny because other parts of Chattanooga are getting it and we're not.
Wow.
Like I have friends who just barely live on the Tennessee side of the Georgia border, and they got 3 or 4 inches, enough for their kids to go out and make snowmen. And I'm like, we got nothing.
There's nothing on the ground here.
And I would complain, but it's just people down here don't know how to act when it does anyway. So I'm okay with it not. It's fine. Christmas was fun for us. We actually had like normal Christmas with my in-laws and me and Chris and Madeline on Christmas weekend, and then my mom came on New Year's, and we ended up doing Christmas with her later. And her visit was way too short this time. It just didn't work out for her to be able to take off for very long due to her paid time off resets after the end of the year. So she doesn't have any. And so she was only able to come down for as long as her office was closed. But we had a nice time with her, and it was just a really laid back Christmas. I was in so much pain. I didn't even care that much. I know that's awful to say. I did end up cooking lunch on Christmas Day, and I still don't know how I made it through it. Like I was hurting so bad. I was in there like talking to myself like the whole time, like, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. Like it was rough. But Madeline had a great Christmas. She got a lot of really cool stuff this year. Like we all kind of talked things out a little bit more than normal for the most part. And like she got a rock collection, which I had to like collect mine over time. So it's kind of nice that she could get
It
like
didn't
the
come to you
whole
in
thing.
collection form.
I know, it didn't come to me in a tray that was already labeled. I had to do that stuff myself. But yeah, it was really fun. And yeah, so she's enjoyed that, and it came with like a little magnifying glass and like a little like turntable thing that has a light on it. Like it's super cool. She's really had a good time with that. And Chris and I had just kind of like decided not to do much this year for each other, so that was kind of nice because that was a little bit less pressure. Yeah, we had a nice time, and everybody enjoyed their Christmas, I think. And I'm just always kind of glad when it's over because it's so much stress as an adult. It's just not like you want to make it good for your kid, but it's just like, oh God, we got to put all this stuff up, and then we got to get it all back, take it all back down and put it all away again. And it's just so much work. Christmas is hard.
one more thing.
Yeah,
on the agenda.
For real. All right, so I guess that's pretty much it for us, except for announcements. So like I said before, check out Tiffany's party link to see the entire Color Street catalog. If you're not in my Facebook group, you should be, because there's always fun stuff. I'm actually running a stock sale this weekend that runs through tomorrow night. Oh, awesome. I've got samples available of Color Street. If you haven't tried it yet, just let me know. I'll be happy to send you one out. I can only send one per person. And I picked the style, sorry, because I only have so many available. So I'm kind of particular about what I send out to new people. I like to send glitters because I think they're easier for new people to try out because they're a little easier to handle and give you a better idea of how the product works. But I'm happy to mail those out to you. I think we are probably not going to do the Amazon Associates links anymore. I think I'm just going to stop doing that because I'll just regular link to Amazon. I may link to, if you have Amazon Smile, you may want to search what I've posted yourself. That way it can donate to whatever charity you have selected. But I have done the Amazon Associates links the way that it has recommended, and we are not getting any credit for anything anybody's buying.
Oh.
So, like, I've had people message me and be like, I just dropped like $200 buying Christmas presents. Is it showing up? And it never has. So I'm just kind of over it, and it's extra work for me to go generate the links anyway. So I just think I'm not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So, we appreciate it. But if you want to support the podcast and help us out with mailing prizes, then we do have a PayPal donate button on the sidebar of the blog. So if you want to help us out and, float us $5, that will help us cover mailing prizes out, that would be appreciated. Or, if you want to cover one of the pattern downloads that we give away for our new knit along, you're welcome to do that too. Whatever. We appreciate it. And, we do still have to pay for blog hosting every year. So if you want to donate, we appreciate it. It isn't required, of course. We just appreciate you being here. That's all. But anyway, okay, so we finished just finished it already, 2021 craft along. So
yes, and I did not pull winners. So what I think we should do is put them in our show notes. Does that work for you? Okay, yep. I'll draw them after the fact.
They will be in the show notes, and we are not going to link you, so you will have to.
You got to go look. See if it's you. Yeah.
And
so that'll be the last quarter.
Bus Knitter, I did not get your yarn mail before my surgery, so it's still in my office, and it's been 6 weeks. I have not been able to make it upstairs yet, so I will get it out for your third quarter win as soon as I can get up there, because it's put away. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure she's got yarn to use. I don't think she's going to run out before I can hand it to her. But anyway.
Did you see on Instagram, I think it was yesterday, that she scored a quilt at the thrift store?
I did,
like a full finished quilt. I don't know if it was somebody like sample quilt or first quilt or like whatever. And it's this looks like basic patchwork, but yeah.
Hey,
I mean, it wouldn't be that unusual to find like maybe a half finished quilt top, but yeah.
I don't know. I just can't imagine like somebody gives me a quilt or I make a quilt and then I'm just like, I don't want this anymore, and I take it to the thrift store like that. Just like that hurts my heart as a maker, but I guess not everybody's a maker, so maybe some people don't care.
True. I don't think I would do that with a quilt. I would find someone that I could give it to, but I have donated some of my hand knit things that I didn't.
Well, I know
interested in.
Afghans for Afghans still takes blankets and quilts, and there was a big group of quilters that were collecting quilts for Syrian refugees for years, and they still are. I still see stuff about it. So there's always somebody who can take a blanket if you don't want a blanket anymore. Like if it's like a store-bought thing, I get it, but if it's a handmade one, that's something special that can bring real comfort to somebody. But anyway, I'm glad that it found a home with somebody who will definitely appreciate the work involved.
She and the kitty seem to like it.
Yeah, I know my dude is hardcore into quilts. He loves a good quilt. So but yeah, we will draw for those winners and we'll put them in the show notes, and we ask that you please try to get with us by the end of February to let us know that you've seen it, because I know that right now we're kind of late getting this done, so we'll give you a little bit more time before we record our March episode, please. If not, we'll have to redraw then. So then I guess let's talk real quick about our new craft along, since we did decide what we're doing.
Yeah, and thank you to those of you who contributed your ideas. We took them into account and kind of combined them all.
Yeah, so we tried to do as much for everybody as we could. We wanted to make it as inclusive as possible, but this time we did want it to be all new projects, because we kept hearing from some of you like, I'm running out of whips. I don't have enough whips. And I'm like, I will never be that person. But I bet that a lot of people are more monogamous about their knitting than I am. And they start something and finish it, start something and finish it. So you may not have a lot of whips. So we wanted to make sure that we kind of gave those of you who didn't have a whole bunch of whips left to work on an opportunity to make some new stuff, but leave it still loose enough to where you can double dip with other groups if you need to. So anyway, we're just calling it the Just One More Project craft along, and we're asking it be only knitting or crochet. Sorry weavers, sorry spinners. This every 2 month period, we are going to have a new theme for the projects. So the one for January, February, and you still have plenty of time to get one done, is a 2-color shawl. It has to be a minimum of 100 grams of yarn with the 2 yarns combined. So one of your little 1 skein shawls, you can put some stripes in it or do your cast on and bind off in another color, and that will totally count. And we just ask that you just post your progress and post your picture, and then somebody's going to win a pattern up to $7 US Ravelry pattern download. So which is part of what inspired me to start this gigantic thing, because it's way more than 100 grams. It's probably 500, 600 by now. But you know, a lot of people knit 2-color shawls, 3-color shawls, 4-color shawls. So we're just saying minimum of 2 colors. And yeah, that's, did we make it where they had to knit with 2 colors, or they had the option of knitting with 2 colors?
It was the option because
Okay,
that was the theme, with an additional element where you could get a
second entry.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So it's
Yes.
just a 100-gram shawl.
Right. So
you can use 1 color. So you can do a 1 skein shawl. Use up 100-gram skein yarn, and that's your entry. But if you want 2 entries, do 2 colors. So, or you know, we're not going to give you more entries if you do more than 2, but just 2 colors for an extra entry. So anyway, that's fun. It's easy, you know, and we're going to keep up with the entries so you can chat as much as you want. We're not going to have a chatter thread this year. It's just going to be each 2 month period is going to have a thread. You can post pictures as often as you want. Show us every other day how much it's grown if you want to. We love to see you guys chat with us. So yes.
Yeah.
And then
so hopefully
we'll draw in March.
You know, this will, yeah. It'll allow you to, you know, fit projects into any other cows too. Cows that, you know, you can work it into.
Exactly.
So,
and there's a whole bunch. I did see that there was.
And well, I was and there's a hashtag also.
Yes.
It's not coming to me right now, but it's
JOMPB JOMPB CAL2022.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you want to check out what other people are doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I know I've used it multiple times with this guy. So, you know, we just want to like, you know, and if there's a specific thing that you'd like to see us do, like a specific hat combined with a technique that you think would be really cool for us to add in as our bonus, send us your suggestions, because, you know, there's a lot of varieties of projects, but, you know, Tiffany and I are big into, you know, hats and cows and mitts and stuff, but we're probably not going to make you like knit a sweater for one of them, because that may be kind of a lot for people to do in a 2 month period.
That's a little restricting for,
I mean, and
crafters.
We don't want to, and also we don't want to have to be like, well, you can't knit a baby sweater because it isn't enough yardage. Like, we won't make you do anything that big. I promise it won't be anything that complicated. But yeah, you know, we're excited about making along with you guys this year, and I'm going to try to use stash for everything that we do if I can. That's, you know, just kind of my goal here. But anyway, well, I guess it's pretty much it for me. We've been on here forever. So
yeah. Michael is a little distracted. Michael's just getting back. He went and picked up my car. I'm pretty sure I said it on the podcast, but I was T-boned back in November, and we finally found a replacement car. It's not ideal, but I'm not going to complain because it is a vehicle. And so it needed to go into the shop before it can be put on the road. So he went and picked it up. And
Chris is obviously tired of being quiet, because I'm sure you guys have heard him a lot in the last few minutes, because he's just been stomping through.
I've seen
He's
him, but
been
I have not heard him at
stomping
all.
through the house, rattling plastic bags, and he's out there feeding the birds right now. I'm like, what are you doing? You know,
No,
I'm
I
doing
didn't hear him at all. I don't know if it'll
He
come
got tired of
through
being quiet. Well, I have
elsewhere.
it set. I have Zoom set to filter out background noise, so maybe
Okay.
it did. But yeah, it was just like he is just obviously he's tired. He's tired of being quiet.
I've had it.
Lord help. Well, anyway, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your continued support of the podcast, and we hope that you'll join us in our knit alongs this year. And you can
Yeah.
jump in and out. You don't have to participate in all of them, and we're not going to do a year-long prize. So if you want to do the shawl one and not do whatever we do next, or skip this one because you don't want a shawl and you want to do something different, you're always welcome to do whatever you want. We just enjoy you guys talking to us because that helps us feel like we're producing quality content that you guys want to interact with. So
yeah, and it's all about community.
Yeah, especially with us not having the retreat anymore to
Right.
kind of have as our touchstone for the year with spending time with everybody. Like it's kind of lonely now. Sad.
It's been strange. I was thinking about that not long ago, that it doesn't even seem possible that we didn't have a retreat this past September.
Well, and it's weird because people keep following the Instagram account, and I'm like, I've changed every setting on it to like we gained like maybe 3 or 4 a week, and I'm like, I've made it pretty clear, so I'm like,
yeah,
maybe they think we'll change our minds. I don't really know, but yeah, it is sad and kind of disappointing, but I'm don't have any regrets. I mean, other than not seeing our friends, I don't have any regrets either.
This is us. This is what we do now.
Yeah, this is what we
Right
do.
here.
And eventually when it's safe again, I would love to go to a retreat and be an attendee and have someone else do work.
Yeah, I'm down for that too.
Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on a couple that I'd like to learn more about. So hopefully we'll find something that'll work. And when we decide where we're going, we'll let you guys know. And if you want to come, you can come. All right. Well, I'll see you later. I'll talk to you probably within the next couple of days on the telephone, and we will have this up probably tomorrow on the 23rd. I'm going to try to, we've got to do some updating in the show notes because like she said earlier, we worked on these like days ago and they're not exactly accurate right now. So we want to get all the links correct for you guys. But all right. Well, thanks so much, and we'll see you soon. Okay.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.